What's going on, everyone? So, is Boyd a goner? Now, you might be thinking, absolutely not. No way. He's the face. He's on the posters, does all that stuff. But From has really kind of been trying to make statements and have these like epic kills. And the trajectory and kind of overarching story and the direction that they're kind of going with Boyd kind of feels like that is going to happen. Or like I mentioned in previous videos, is him kind of going full dark side, right? Like he's finally tapped into that darkness. He finally went to that dark place, although brief. And, you even saw, right? Sarah's like, I'm not going to let this place take his soul. This place already took mine. And she ended up finishing the job. But he already went and touched the darkness, right? And the whole point is like, this place wants to break him. This place wants to ruin him. And yes, the monsters themselves and stuff, they might not necessarily want to kill him, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other things that don't. Or it doesn't mean that, somebody else won't, right? Because there's a couple things that I think are very interesting that kind of lead down the path of Boyd kind of having this sort of fork in the road. Right? I don't think his character is going to stay on course to the direction in which he has been on, where he's kind of the hero. He's the guy that's going to save the town. He's the guy that's going to bring everyone home. Now, I'm not saying he won't have a part in it in some capacity. I've always maintained, I don't think one person is going to be the one that leads everybody home. I think it'll be a collective effort, right? I think, Julie and Tabitha and Jade and Boyd and Victor and all these characters will all have a piece and a hand in it, and they'll all end up getting out in some capacity. But we've seen them, with Tien and and now you had Jim at the end, and you've had several characters die, and they've made it a point of like, we want to surprise you with these kills, like we want this to no one safe type thing. And what better way than to kill the guy that is literally the face of the show? Talk about an impactful death. Like that would be very impactful. One of the big things right now is like, we're headed in a clear direction where Jade and Tabitha are going to be in the forefront of the story. Right? They are the ones that just unlock their memories. I imagine that season 4 and however many seasons precede it, like, they're going to be kind of front and center more than they've probably ever been. And you've already started to see the transition, particularly in this last season, and particularly with Tabitha. Tabitha's story was kind of the main premise of the story, where Boyd in many ways was kind of relegated to like a background sort of supporting character. Obviously he still was very prominent, obviously still had a lot of purpose, but it was more focused on like him being distracted and kind of dealing with Fatima and Ellis, right? As kind of that was like his distraction, right? That's what his purpose and sole point was, kind of going towards the later half back into the season. And so they're clearly having a direction with these characters that are going, like, they are the two most important characters now. Because they're the ones that have the memories unlocked. They're the ones that have the history. They're the ones that probably have a lot of information and details and stuff. And again, that doesn't mean that you can't have Boyd involved. It doesn't mean that you can't have him incorporated. But he usually always had a hand, or at least knowledge of pretty much everything. And yet now we're starting to go down a path where he's becoming less and less important, less and less knowledgeable, less and less involved in kind of like the main stories and whatnot. Now that doesn't mean, like, you look at like Victor and, Sarah in a lot of ways, right? There's a lot of characters that are alive and have been alive and have had significance and, played important roles. And look, they could easily kind of pivot and change course, and all of a sudden Boyd is back into the main story and the main, the main purpose again in a lot of ways. But there's also the possibility of like, what more impactful way to do it? Like, then if he ends up dying, right? I mean, even him and Ellis and Fatima, like, you take them all out at the same time. Maybe he tries to save his son trying to do that, right? And it's just, how long is this place going to kind of let him get a pass and try to break him, right? If they have him dead to rights again, are they just going to not kill him, because they want to break him, especially if they find out that they can't break him, which is why I think either A, this show's going to go to the direction where he is going to get broken and he is going to go full dark side, and that's going to kind of be the direction his character goes, or B, he dies, right? Because either this place comes to the conclusion that they can break him and they figure it out and they end up breaking him, or B, it's like, okay, we can't break him, then we might as well just kill him, right? And that's kind of the path that I see this heading. That's kind of the direction that I think this is heading. Also, like, what's going to happen with Elgin, right? How is the town not going to find out? Officer Acosta knows. And I don't think she's going to keep her mouth shut about everything, right? I don't think she's going to keep this hush-hush and under wraps. And Officer Acosta it seems like they're building her to kind of try to overthrow Boyd, try to overtake Boyd, right? Like, so how far would she go? Would she go to the point of killing Boyd or capturing Boyd? Do you kind of end up having these like factions where you have like Acosta and the people that are following her, and and then the people that are following Boyd, and maybe they try to take down Boyd, right? Does FROMVILLE intervene? Do they get involved, or they kind of just let it all happen and just let the people kind of deal with themselves, take themselves out, which is a real possibility, right? There's a lot of ways that they can kind of approach this and go about it, but to me, it just feels like they're walking Boyd down one of two paths. He finally touched that darkness. I mean, even Father Kotri is telling him, right? Like, once you do this, that's it, right? This place is won. They've gotten you. Now this place knows, if we put the people he loves in a compromised position to where he has to compromise his morals and he has to kind of go dark side here, he'll do it. We just saw him do it. Right? So why wouldn't FROMVILLE want to continue to put pressure on Boyd? Why wouldn't FROMVILLE want to now target Ellis and Fatima and maybe even Kenny and the people that he cares and loves for the most? Donna, right? Like, how far can we push him? Let's start taking out those people, right? And see, does he break? And if he doesn't break, well, then again, at some point, you're going to have to kill him. I don't think, given the showrunners, given the people that are involved in From, given the history on their previous shows, it's not crazy to think that they would kill Boyd. It's not crazy to think that they're not heading down a path of one way or another. The good guy turned evil, right? I talked about, you're the hero long enough to see yourself become the villain. Right? You either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself the villain, right? That's the whole Spider-Man shtick, right? Well, it's kind of what it feels like here, right? That he's either going to die or he's going to live long enough to see himself become the villain and become the thing that maybe prevents them getting out of FROMVILLE. Or, and look, that doesn't mean, you could have this kind of like hero turn villain back to redemption, right? Like, kind of sticking with the Spider-Man thing, right? Like, think of, like Spider-Man 3, becomes the Hobgoblin, trying to kill Peter to ultimately, being the one that helps save him and ends up dying in order to do so. Like, I could see something similar with Boyd, where he was the hero, he was the face, the main focus, everything, goes dark side, and then ultimately dies, saving everybody. I just think it's always felt that way, and from the moment we were introduced to his character, that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get anyone home, even if that means dying and sacrificing himself. So I've always maintained, and I've touched on this, from the moment I've started videos on From, right? Like, that I don't think it's crazy to think that he might die at some point. It's just, will it be at the end of it all? or will it be at the beginning? I just don't think everybody that we see, all the characters that we see that have been prominent, are all going to make it out unscathed, right? I mean, you're already starting to see characters that you would think are going. I mean, Jim. No, I mean, you could argue him and the family were the main point, right? And then he ends up dying. So to think that Boyd won't die, I don't buy. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question. You let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you want Boyd to die? Do you not want him to die? Do you want him to go dark side? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it either way. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.